The most anticipated matchup of the PUL South Division is finally here. The DC Shadow and Raleigh Radiance have long set the standard with 8 championship weekend appearances and 2 PUL titles. 3 years ago, the Radiance squared off against the Shadow in the semi-finals, upsetting DC in front of their home fans. Raleigh advanced to face the New York Gridlock in the finals, emerging victorious 18-16.
Raleigh Radiance are your premier Ultimate League champions for 2023.
2 years later, the Shadow returned the favor on the biggest stage, defeating Raleigh in the 2025 final to claim their first championship in franchise history, capping their undefeated season with an 18-17 win over their rivals.
And the DC Shadow are your 2025 Premier Ultimate League champions.
Riding that championship wave, DC has won 12 in a row and haven't dropped a contest in nearly 2 years. Starting their 2026 season with a confident win over the Radiance in Week 3 and a road victory over a formidable Atlanta Soul, the Shadow are showing no signs of slowing down. Raleigh is a different story. A 2-win streak over Nashville and Minnesota has given them some momentum. But in Week 4, the Atlanta Soul, a team Raleigh has historically dominated, delivered the Radiance a crushing 16-6 loss. A performance that raised real questions about whether this Radiance squad would claim a spot in the postseason. With championship weekend coming to Raleigh's home field, this game is a must-win for the Radiance. This season isn't just about another title, it's about showing up for their home crowd. Live, in the district, the reigning, undefeated PUL champions, the DC Shadow, face off against the Raleigh Radiance in a rematch of last year's final. And it starts now.
Welcome to Carlini Field in Washington, D.C. We've got a beautiful evening tonight for another game in the historic rivalry between the DC Shadow and the Raleigh Radiance. I'm Alex Turney, here with Sam Broadus. We've got an exciting matchup between these teams that have played each other a lot over the years and have shared a lot of players back and forth. DC took down Raleigh in a game earlier this year in Week 2, and Raleigh's looking forward to getting a chance for some revenge tonight as they close out the regular season. They're also looking forward to bringing up some practice players and some players to fill in some spots from a few key players that they're missing. This is an exciting game for them. They're really excited for the opportunity to play against a team they know really well, and they like their chances to end DC's 12-game win streak.
Similarly, DC is also looking forward to this game tonight. After the victory last game, they walked away feeling like they could have executed a lot better. And so tonight they're hoping to build on the strategies that they employed last game to see if they can execute at a higher level. Similar to Raleigh, they also have 6 practice players playing in this game and are missing 7 rostered players. So it will be a test of their depth tonight to see if the deep part of their roster can really execute to those strategies.
Absolutely. Now let's take a look at tonight's pillar players of the game.
From DC, one of our pillar players to watch tonight is Sammy Smalling. Currently, she leads Shadow in assists with 12. Last year, she ended up finishing second in blocks and goals. So a complete player and someone very excited to watch in the backfield, going downfield, just all around. She can do it all.
And interestingly, Smalling did not play in the Week 2 matchup against the Radiance, so this will be an exciting test for her to come out, test herself against this team that she hasn't seen so far this season, and for the Radiance to see if they can try to slow her down after having no experience against her earlier this year. On the other side, our pillar player of the game is Julia Hoffman from the Raleigh Radiance. Notably, Hoffman currently leading the league with 24 goals this season, 2 shy of the league record. Hoffman also sitting with a strong stat line of 7 assists and 2 Ds. Earlier this year in the Week 2 matchup, Hoffman had 6 goals and 2 assists in their game against the Shadow, and notably was very strong around the end zone, able to use her size and quickness to be able to get around defenders as Raleigh got close to the end zone, being both a threat in the deep space and also towards the front cone. Really utilizing her as a threat to keep DC defenders honest. be interesting to see how DC tries to counter her tonight. And again, going for tonight, her league record in goals. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops. The Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. Today's coverage is brought to you by Eric Fofolia, realtor with strong foundation groups. If you're buying or selling in the DMV area this year, Eric focuses on helping clients make confident, well-informed decisions.
Heading into this game today, DC Shadows sits atop the South Division, not quite locked in for championship weekend, but has a pretty easy path to get there at this point, needing only to secure one of the next 2 games in the win column in order to lock it in. Raleigh, on the other hand, has a very steep path to climb, but first they have to take down DC Shadow to even have a chance at playing in the championship weekend.
Absolutely. This is, again, Raleigh's last regular season game of the season. And as we noted, lost to the Soul and the Shadow earlier this season. So both looking to get some revenge against the Shadow and hoping to keep their playoff chances alive here tonight to stay alive in the South Division, where, again, only the top 2 teams from each division will go to championship weekend. And here again is one of our pillar players of the game, Julia Hoffman, getting loose. It's a beautiful evening out there. We had a bit of wind swirling earlier, but looks like a really nice evening. Again, Julia Hoffman tonight going for the PUL league record in season goals, currently sitting at 24, 2 behind the current leader from a few seasons ago. But Julia Hoffman thinking tonight could be a big night to step out and take that lead in overall assists. If the wind stays low, this could be a prime night for her.
And you know, when a player is that close to a record like that, they are going to be looking for those stats in the end zone. So it will be interesting to see how DC chooses to defend her tonight, whether that be backing her in the middle of the field and then playing lockdown, or potentially even having some help defense against her in the end zone, because I'm sure her teammates are going to try to be helping her to achieve that goal. So that'll be interesting to watch tonight.
Absolutely, and here seeing the recent years league leaders in goals scored, Jenny DeJesus having scored the most goals in both 2025 and 2024 and setting the record in 2024 with the 26 single-season goals. Again, Julia Hoffman tonight going to break that record if she can get it done. DC hoping to stop her, keep her in check as they try to contain the Raleigh offense in some beautiful conditions. Very excited. Players are jogging out to the field. The crowd is warmed up. We've got a glorious evening.
But on one note tonight, some major names missing from tonight's lineup on both sides of the disc, but most notably for DC Shadow, they are missing 7 key players: Allie Wallace, Emily Kiver, Jess Sourbeer, Kat Ritzman, Sumi Ono, Tyler Smith, and Amanda Beans Murphy. So this is going to be an interesting lineup tonight, utilizing the depth of the roster. So here we are getting ready for the PUL to go up.
Absolutely, and looks like that's a DC Shadow O-line out there. It looks like they'll be starting with receiving the disc. And one good thing for the Shadow is that most of their O-line players are still here tonight, so they have some continuity on that side of the disc. Again, just a beautiful evening here in DC, 68 degrees. We've got some wind swirling. It's been high and it's been low, so we'll see how that plays an impact tonight. But really a gorgeous evening for some Frisbee, and the fans here at Carlini Field are excited, people on the edge of their seats, lots of cheering, and it looks like we've got Olsen with the disc for the Radiance getting ready to send off the opening pull. Olsen sends it off and we're underway. Flores coming over to pick it up, centers it over to Smalling. Finds McGuire. McGuire rips it deep off the jump. Lily Johnson in the end zone.
One of the things we talked to the coaching staff on DC Shadow about before the game was how to get Lily Johnson unlocked in the deep space a bit more. She is a premier threat in that deep space, and we were asking how they planned to do that. One of the things they mentioned was set plays. It looked like that was a well-executed pull play.
And in Game 1 earlier this season against the Radius, Johnson had 3 goals and 2 assists, so already picking up where she left off from Week 2's matchup. A great opening set from the DC O-line, giving their cutters lots of room to work, and then a beautiful delivery from McGuire to a wide-open Johnson downfield.
Lily Johnson was also the goals leader at the club championships in 2025. She played on DC Grit and led the division in goals. So she is absolutely a scoring machine.
And here we go, in DC Shadow coming out with their first D-line opportunity of the evening. Looks like Jackie Wong sends the pull off. It's tailing, lands out of bounds.
A little bit of that wind we mentioned impacting the pull.
Shapuski takes the disc, gonna center it up in the middle of the field. Back with you in the reset space. Finds you over on the reset, back to Shapuski. Run through block from Gentilette. Full speed, no brakes. And the DC Shadow is off with a break chance. Jess O with the disc.
She loves baiting those run-through Ds on the under, sits right on the back shoulder and accelerates through when many players hold up right before the catch.
Gentilette sends it deep to Jess O, and that's a score. That's a break for the DC Shadow, once again utilizing the deep space.
DC's D-line offense is very good. This is something that there is absolutely a strength of theirs, being able to rely on their D-line offense, generating those breaks after a turn.
Very smooth offense from the DC D-line right after that run-through block from Gentilette on the underneath cut, and they're off to the races. Oh, after picking up in the backfield, finds her way downfield, and Gentilette always happy to deliver the deep service to any receiver with steps. Very exciting, and we can see some wind starting to pick up here as well on the sidelines of the field, so that should be interesting to keep an eye on the swirling of the wind. And here's Avery Diocampo getting lined up to send off the pull. Looks like a similar offensive unit for the Radiance coming back out after that pretty short point.
But it looks like a wholesale sub for DC, getting a lot of their practice players into the mix on this point.
Yu gets it upfield to Jenny Way. And there's Julia Hoffman with the disc. Big fake on the sideline. Finds Gross just outside the end zone. Big grab from Jenny Way, but there was some collision between the DC defenders, and it looks like play continues. Looking for an option. Finds Gross back on the front cone.
Struggling a little bit right outside the end zone to get momentum. DC doing a good job of locking down their players.
Gross once again involved. Finds Shapuski in the middle of the field. Back over to Way. Way floats it up. Hackle comes down with it. There's a hold for the Radiance.
Sometimes patience just pays off, and that was well executed. Even it took a few too many a few more throws than they probably wanted to get into the end zone. That patient, swinging the disc, waiting for that opportunity to open up, and then catching the score.
Absolutely, and they really utilized the full width of the field as the DC defense was taking away some easy options at the front cone. were able to swing the disc all the way to the break side, find their way back and forth, definitely utilizing Gross and Way a lot in the backfield to keep possession while their cutters got organized downfield.
It's looking like a very similar O-line for DC Shadow as that first offensive point they had. Let's see if they come out in a similar formation or if they're looking to mix things up a little bit. They kind of came out in a little bit of a vertical stack last time, but clearly had an organized set play that they went off of. I would anticipate that they would continue to do pull plays until Raleigh stops them.
Brzezinski sends the pull off, lands around midfield. Smalling retrieves the disc, snares it back to Flores. Flores finds Johnson on the far side with a little pressure from a defender, leading out to Julia Harris. Just like that, DC has chunked a lot of yards. Finds Flores in the backfield. Layout block from the Radiance.
That was really good anticipation. She saw that throw and go movement initiating and waited for it and had a beautiful layout block.
Big time block from Proshka to get the Radiance the disc, give themselves a break opportunity. Here we have Cutler with the disc, and Flores just runs right through, sends it immediately to Smalling, just out of reach, can't come down with it. Wow, back and forth defensive plays across the field. Flores able to just run through that reset cut as if it was made for her, but leads it a bit far for Smalling. And Radiance, once again, with a break opportunity starting on their own end zone line. Oh, my goodness.
Lily Johnson with the layout D.
Lily Johnson on the goal line, sends it back to Harris. Back to Flores in the backfield. Breaks the mark. Finds Harris with the tippy toes on the sideline for the hold after an exciting flurry of Ds back and forth.
That was an exciting point. Great defensive pressure by both teams.
Here's that layout block from Poksh. Incredible awareness and athleticism to jump that lane. Flores gets the run through D, and then Lily Johnson sending it all on the line to get the disc back for DC on the goal line, able to make quick work of it between the two UVA graduates of Flores and Harris. Great work for the former Hydra players. Lily Johnson, still in college herself, big time plays to save the DC O-line from getting potentially broken.
And Julia Harris definitely has a nose for the end zone, probably the most so of any Shadow player. So around the end zone, you need to know that she's going to be looking to make those opportunistic cuts to get open in that space. So definitely one of the biggest end zone threats that Shadow has when they're in the red zone.
Yeah, tied for most goals on the Shadow in 2026 and looking to already started continuing that lead. And here comes the DC Shadow with the pole. Usual suspects for the Radiance O-line out there. U has the disc now in the backfield.
DC starting with a little bit of a bracket to stop any momentum right off the bat.
Shikuski looking for an option. Deep rip from Hoffman. Not able to connect with Hackle downfield.
Hackle had the opportunity to establish position, but just slightly misread it, or a little bit of wind got to it, and she wasn't able to high point it quite where she thought.
Here comes the Shadow with a break chance. Wong sends it up to Gentilette. Fakes the deep shot. Looked like it was a block there on the throw. Great heads-up awareness to get a block and then get it right back. That was Caitlin Gross with the hand block and then immediately working back and forth to get the quick score for the Radiance hold.
Very nice transition on that D to O from Raleigh. Before DC can establish their position defensively, they were able to get into the end zone. That's going to be really key for them to not let DC get comfortable and organized defensively. If they can keep DC on their heels, they're going to be able to score.
And Gross in her 6th season with the Radiance has already put up 4 blocks, now make it 5 on the season so far. So really adding up in the stat line. Always a great player for the Radiance O-line to have on the field in the case there's a turnover, to be able to get the disc back for them, and then, as we saw, put some points on the board. And of course, Shakuski as well, instrumental in that, moving the ball around before the turnover and then able to work quickly with Gross after the turn to get the score before DC was able to reset some defense. Stanlin sends the pull away. Flores picks up.
DC in a split stack.
Smalling looking for options. Back to Flores.
Raleigh's doing a really good job sagging in the middle of the field, kind of forcing them to the sidelines to try to pin them and shrink the field quite a bit.
Smalling here with the disc on the sideline, finds Harris. Harris looking upfield for a moment. Finds Smalling on the goal line. Smalling looks ahead, and that's a great throw to Fetter. Finds Fetter in the end zone for the DC hold.
That was great acting like a field general out there by Sammy Smalling. Fetter didn't see the space that Sammy saw initially, and Sammy pumped faked her to say, I need you into that space right here. She gives that pump fake and says, I'm going to throw this, and then puts it into that space.
Great communication. Great to see how the players work together on the field. Sammy Smalling once again stepping up, showing that leadership around the end zone, being able to find ways to get the disc to her teammates in the end zone for easy goals, making them look easy at least, and that's Smalling's first assist of the evening as well. Continuing to add to her season total. Again, already had 12 assists coming into this game. A great Marshall on the field for the DC O-line.
And it'll be interesting to see. So far, DC has not deviated from their starting 7 offensively. It'll be interesting to see if they open up the rotation a little bit, or if they keep a pretty tight rotation offensively, and then create that depth with their defensive lines. Sometimes that's a strategy where you can get that chemistry with the O-line, where you want kind of the legs and the subs on the defensive line. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do here.
And here's Radiance already working it up. Gross with the disc, swings it back to you in the middle of the field. Finds Gross again on the near sideline. Goes for a big gainer, but underthrows the sliding Jazorski. DC with a chance for the break opportunity. There's Jesso going up line. Able to find Driver. Driver continues it down the field.
Really working in small spaces right up that sideline, not using the width of the field at all. And whoa, a great layout grab by Jackie Wong.
Mueller asked the question. Jackie Wong able to answer and deliver with the layout score for the DC Shadow break. Absolutely incredible play. Full extension, elevating after DC had worked it smoothly down the open side of the field. Mueller sends it out to space. Wong able to deliver.
Great layout grab from Wong, but that is something that is very comfortable for her. She saw that coming. She measured it up the entire way. She loves laying out, so she knew the entire time she was going to be catching that goal.
Wong gets her first goal of the night, and as you noted, the DC Shadow D-line coming out there with some players in the lane, forcing the Radiance offense to swing that disc a few times, and we're a little bit uncomfortable, it appeared, with the defense that DC was playing.
Yeah, so far both teams are looking to clog that middle of the field, try to slow down momentum and get the offense to swing it to the low side of the field and try to pin them there. It was successful in this last point for DC. It'll be interesting to see if they do that again or if they change it up.
And Dio Campo sends the pull, lands just in bounds. Shakuski goes over to pick it. I apologize, landed out of bounds. Finds you. Birdsong going deep. You sends it out. Birdsong catches it just shy of the end zone. Back to Hoffman.
And an easy score for Raleigh Radiance.
Very smooth offensive flow there from the Radiance, sending it up to you, who delivered a lovely ball out there in front of Birdsong, who was able to run onto it. Birdsong, a great deep receiver, utilizing both her speed and height and awareness and timing her cuts. And there's Stanlin scoring off of a little assist from Julia Hoffman. Yet to find the goal, but has been helpful in moving that ball around for her team. And here's a great chance for this DC Shadow to continue with their offensive holds that they've had recently, but Radiance really is looking for an opportunity to get another break, even if they can just get some turnovers or something to tire out this O-line.
It'll be interesting to see, since both teams have had great success working it up that far sideline, to see if either team changes strategy and starts forcing down to the other sideline. It's seeming like those forehands on that side are working way too easily. So if I were a coach, I would be switching the force.
And here comes the pull. Smalling over to pick it up. Centers to Flores. Finds Russell on the near side. Back to Flores. Centers it over to Smalling. McGuire with the disc on the far sideline. Right through the hands of Julia Harris.
An uncharacteristic drop from Julia.
And here's that opportunity we were talking about for the Raleigh D-line. Both to get some run in on this DC O-line, get them legs tired a bit, and also, see, there's a deep shot going up. Julia Harris defending. Good use of the body position to discourage the receiver from being able to go up. That was Baumgarten going up as the deep receiver, unable to complete the catch, though.
I'm curious why that throw went up. I think the bracket was pretty obvious that there was a last back help defender there. So I think Raleigh needs to settle down and take the chances that they're getting to generate breaks when they're able to generate that turnover with their defense.
And here's Johnson with the disc on the near sideline, looking for a reset. Finds Smalling back in the middle of the field. Sends it all the way across to Fader. Finds McGuire moving up that same sideline that everyone's been working up. Back to Smalling in the middle of the field. Floaty around to Flores. Poach coming off the back on the pass to Julia Harris, and Harris drops it, feeling potentially some pressure on the backside. Looks like there is a timeout called by the Radiance, looking to potentially get some offensive personnel or even just some fresh legs on the field here. This is a big opportunity here for the Radiance to potentially get this break.
Yeah, interestingly, this timeout is probably beneficial to both teams. I would think it is still to Raleigh's advantage to get their O-line out there to generate this break, but the DC O-line was feeling it after a couple of back and forths there, and I'm not sure who it's benefiting more, but I think Raleigh still has the upper hand, and strategically that was the right call to make.
And here we go. We've got an interesting trivia question on the screen here. How many Callahan winners have played for the Radiance? Notably a very strong franchise, a lot of good collegiate players in the Triangle area that have made their way to play with the Radiance. Have to imagine it's a decent number of players here.
I can think of one off the top of my head. I coached Dawn Colton on Team USA, and I know she was one of the Callahan winners, so more than one. One or more.
One or more.
And the right answer is 2.
Absolutely. How could we forget Ann Worth, another great collegiate player from the Triangle area. And here we go, coming back out. Looks like Raleigh has opted to put a number of their offensive personnel on the field for this opportunity to get a break chance. Shikuski starting with the disc. Sends it back to Wei. Looking for Hackle. Just a bit outside. Hackle unable to reel it in with the long stretch. Kikuchi putting pressure there on that reception, making it a hard one. DC D-line with a chance for the hold. That's a nice inside throw from Wong to Gentilette. That's a hold for DC despite the defensive unit being on the field.
Yeah, they applied really tight pressure off of that timeout, generating just an unforced error. They were just close on it and made the throw go a little bit wide, and then Wong to Gentilette made it look easy.
A great throw. Hard to contain Gentilette with all that space at the front of the end zone, and Wong very capable of breaking the mark inside or around. Some of those same defenders potentially getting back out there. There's Wong and Gentilette looking for more. Happy to be able to get that block and get their O-line a hold. Now they're excited for the chance at potentially getting a break if they can get a block here. Keep the Radiance on their heels as DC currently leads 6-3 after some breaks for DC. Raleigh has had some break chances, has been unable to capitalize on them though.
Yeah, right now the pressure is all on the Raleigh offense. They need a clean hold here. They need to go get off the field and get their defense back on the field. Sometimes Ultimate can be a war of attrition, and if you make the offense run a lot early in the game, it actually really wears them out for later in the game when it may be a little closer.
And here's Gross with the disc. Sends it back to you. Looking over to the far side. Shikuski has the disc, sends it deep. Looking for Gross, just a bit out of reach. Was an opening there, but unable to convert on a tight throw. O providing pressure from the defensive side, and O picks up the disc.
Just not quite enough air under it. It was the right look, good space out there. Just needs to put a little air underneath that disc, and that would have been a score.
Raider working here with Korpinen. Korpinen finds Wong in the backfield. Here's Driver, the disc. Finds Kikuchi. Deep option, covered well by the Radiance. Back to Wong. A slightly high one for O, unable to bring down the catch. Not too much defensive pressure applied, just a bit of a mistake there. And here the Radiance have, again, a chance to get their hold.
Yeah, Raleigh is getting their chances. It's really on them right now to just settle down and execute. They are getting the space. A great layout bid attempt from Jackie Wong, but not quite enough. And that is a Raleigh score.
That's Hoffman delivering that ball out there in front of you. As you said, Jackie Wong making it hard with a great layout attempt. You unfazed, gives a slight nod to say, good try, I was there. But once again, you finding the end zone for the Radiance as Hoffman is utilizing her throws tonight, potentially realizing that DC is keying in on her as a receiver and has found some ways to get some assists. The crowd is excited. They're loving the energy so far in the game. And again, there's Yu's first goal of the game. Oh, there's a disc for a lucky fan. That explains the excitement and the fun. Who doesn't love a free flat ball? And here's another chance for the Radiance coming out on defense. Only a minute and 4 seconds left in the first quarter. The Radiance have gotten some turnovers from the DC O-line, but they haven't been able to convert those into the holds that they're, or into the break chances that they're looking for. Here's Olsen on the pull. Flores picks up, centers to Smalling. Finds McGuire. Willie Johnson operating in the deep space. Harris finds it. Tight catch under a little bit of pressure. Sends it up the field to Smalling. Getting close to the end zone. Upfield to Fetter. Nice run to grab from Fetter for the DC hold.
And another assist for Smalling. That's 2 on the game so far, bringing her up to 14 assists on the season.
Keeps adding them on. Great flow from the DC offense, utilizing Lily Johnson in the deep space as someone to pull some defenders away and then just churning through some of those shorter yardage passes.
Yeah, it was interesting when Johnson went deep. I thought that deep space looked really open for her, but it was about who was holding the disc and their comfortability throwing into that space right now with this swirling wind. Sometimes as a receiver, you get so hungry for that end zone, but you really have to read like who the thrower is and how they're feeling about putting that disc into that space. So instead, DC was able to walk it up with a little bit more movement and then get an easy hold.
Nice. And Sammy Smalling again adding on her second assist of the evening, already racking up the stats just in the first quarter. And here we come out with 41 seconds left. Diocampo sends the pull off. And as a reminder, if time expires while a team is still in possession, they will maintain possession until there is a turnover. So the stoppage of the clock doesn't necessarily mean the quarter is over. Here comes the Radiance. You with the disc.
Now, if you're Raleigh right now, you definitely want to possess for sure. Like, you do not want to give DC the opportunity to get one more score before the end of this quarter. So you can either go for a quick score, or you might want to let the time run out and then lock in the last score of the quarter. And a nice layout grab by Lila Stanlin.
Great grab there as time was starting to wind down. The Radiants have been very patient there, utilizing lots of throws kind of in that small window space over on the far sideline, but were able to keep moving the disc, keep it alive.
And unfortunately, they left 11 seconds on the clock, giving DC that final possession. It looked like they were playing without thinking about the clock management piece of that. You would definitely have wanted to let the clock run out before you scored that to keep this a 2-point game in the first quarter. But if they're able to generate a turn, then they can still end it that way. But DC gets the final possession of the quarter.
And a great catch again there from Stanlin. Just want to shout out that great grab, diving into the dirt just to go make sure to secure the possession for the score for the Radiance. Adds on second goal of the evening for Stanlin.
Yeah, Stanlin is a great player in the North Carolina area. 2 goals for her tonight already.
It looks like a pretty standard defensive line here from the Radiance. Emma Cole to send it away.
Her second season with the Radiance.
Smalling picks up. Back to Flores.
DC junking up the middle of the field again, Raleigh junking up the middle of the field again, wanting DC to have to swing it wide.
And there's Feder with the disc. Finds Harris on the near side. Time has expired, but they continue to play out the possession. McGuire with the disc close to the sideline. Into the backfield to Feder. Looking for Smalling. Good pressure. Manages to come down with possession. Now some quick ball movement from the DC handler core. Flores floats it around.
Oh, and no one cuts to the continuation space.
McGuire looking for a reset option. Finds Flores. Up to Harris. Back to Flores. And there's Feder. Disc in the middle of the field. Sends a knifing blade over the top to Johnson for the goal. Great hold from DC to close out the quarter.
That was really good defensive pressure by Raleigh, making DC swing the disc multiple times back and forth across the field before they were able to get it across the line.
And DC very content to utilize their handlers and their throws to keep possession of the disc while they waited for some things to develop downfield. A great throw from Feder to get over the top of one of her teammates and a defender to be able to find Johnson streaking to that front cone. That's an assist for Feder to add on to 2 goals that she already had in this game, already racking up quite the stat line in just the first quarter. And DC currently holds the lead, 8-5 after some great breaks. Were punched in by the DC D-line. Raleigh had some chances, but were not able to capitalize when they had the disc with their D-line. All right, we're going to go to a break, but don't go anywhere. When we get back, we'll be here for the second quarter. We've had a lot of exciting action. Look forward to some more.
I'm here at the Triangle Ultimate Middle School Championships, where over 30 middle school teams are showing us exactly what the future of our sport looks like. Local, accessible, youth ultimate. At the Ultimate Foundation, we envision a world where everyone has the opportunity to experience ultimate as a sport that inspires integrity, relationships, and belonging. Founded in 2014, we are the philanthropic arm of USA Ultimate. Our funding priorities are focused on fostering access, growing youth ultimate, investing in local communities, and supporting the Girls Ultimate Movement and the Del Rico Johnson Fund. Our mission is to fuel a future for ultimate that is accessible to all backgrounds and identities by supporting USA Ultimate programs, partners, and communities. Let's stop sitting on the sidelines. Let's make the ultimate difference for the next generation.
This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today. So as we go into the second quarter here, interesting thing of note, Julia Hoffman yet to score. She does have 2 assists, but has yet to find the end zone. Anything you're seeing from her or the DC defense to stop her?
I think she'll get there. I think she has been very involved, as you can see by the 2 assists, and I think it's a matter of time before she's able to find her spot in the end zone. DC has been doing a good job junking things up and applying good defensive pressure, so that can disrupt rhythm a little bit, but the fact that she is very involved near the end zone, I do think that she will find those goals.
I agree. Hard to keep a goal scorer out of the end zone. And here comes Wong with the pull to start the second quarter. Raleigh receiving, down 5-8. Snares up to Gross.
DC not sagging this time, not junking anything up, looking to play tight, pressuring defense. I like that change.
You and Gross playing some catch back and forth. A little bit errant throw from you, and Korpinen gets the block. Wong sends it deep to Korpinen. Pulls it in. Korpinen, with a great reception in the end zone, elevates to go over the defender to secure a break for DC to start out the second quarter.
I really like that defensive pressure that DC decided to come out with, just playing lockdown, really tight defense. That kind of created that opportunity off of an errant throw to get the D and then fast break out of it for the easy score.
And a lot of pressure from the DC marks, as you were noting, not laying off, not giving them any easy throws, putting some pressure on them and potentially forcing an errant throw there, again, as Korpinen gets both the block and the goal to get some classic bookends for DC. First goal of the game for Korpinen, but a big opportunity there for DC to take an additional extension of their lead, now 9-5 for the Shadow.
I think this next point is very critical for Raleigh. A 9-6 game feels very different than a 10-5 game. So if I were them, I would be really focused on, I would have my my best 7 out there right now, really telling them that this is a possession point. Don't take a 50-50. You really need to lock this one in. Going into a side stack for the first time.
And there's Szykuski, gets it back to you. You looking deep, has Hoffman in the area. Oh my goodness, what a great block from DC. Madeline Lander, practice player, pulled up for this game. First professional appearance, gets a big time block on the PUL's current goal leader. What a moment.
Yeah, that was interesting. It looked like they had a plan for a pull play, and when it broke down, it stagnated a little bit, and so they had to put up a little bit of a 50-50. But they're able to get the disc right back.
Diocampo sends a deep ball to Tenson, fades out of bounds. Tenson looking for a play from there, but unable to bring it in. And here, Radiance have the disc once again, just outside of their own end zone, looking to see if they can march down and get a hold. You with the disc in the middle of the field. Gets it up to Hoffman. Hoffman with a big pump fake. Back to you. Fine tackle. Stanlin working well with this offensive unit. Hoffman goes to the ground to get it, but can't secure the grab. DC with another break chance here. That's just out of reach, just off the hands of Diocampo. Looks like there may have been a timeout called before the throw. Once again, the DC coaching staff coming in big with a timeout call to save a possession there.
That is one of my favorite things to see from a coaching staff, is that awareness of when the turnover is about to happen and calling that timeout. It's one of the few times they can actually impact like the flow of the game, and it's always fun to see when they time it perfectly like that.
Kira's disc. Let's get the first two cutters both going up line. We're going to do third cutter swooping, fourth cutter fill.
Okay.
So, swoop, fourth person fill.
Upline swoop, fill.
A lot of uplines.
Upline swoop, fill.
Let's go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Who's left?
Me.
4.
Fill.
Fill.
I'm 2?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're going with and where am I?
Back.
Okay, perfect.
Let's get into it.
You look at
Gotta love the swooping cut. I think there's a little bit of confusion coming out of that huddle. I could hear the, where am I?
Coach Maniloff looking there to get some things organized, drawing up a serious set play as they bring out the offensive unit from this timeout to see if they can punch in another break chance to capitalize and take a 10-5 lead against the Radiance. Flores picks up the disc to start. Defended by Baumgart. Finds McGuire. Back to Flores. Flores finds Feder, middle of the field. Sends it over on the near side to Radar. It's on the O-line for the first time this game.
Great team defense by Raleigh, rolling and switching seamlessly to stop easy looks.
Flores sends it to the end zone, and there's McGuire bringing in the goal, and that's a break for DC to take a 10-5 lead. Flores to McGuire.
Sometimes when you are rolling and switching a lot, you end up losing track of somebody, and it looked like somebody lost track of McGuire. She was a little too open in the middle of the end zone.
And a lot of pressure from Baumgarten here on the mark from the Radiance to keep Flores from utilizing the break side, but McGuire able to sneak free, finds the front cone of the end zone. Flores always happy to deliver an assist to add on. And again, Flores came into this game with 9 assists. Or I apologize, 11 assists coming into this game so far this season. And there's McGuire adding on a goal to an assist she already had earlier on in the evening. So a strong evening so far from McGuire, who's been a great addition for the DC O-line this year. DC looking with their defensive line back out there, Wong with the disc, getting ready to pull it off. Sends a towering pull, great hang time. And there's Shakuski picking up on the near sideline, centers it up to you.
Nice leading pass.
Shakuski and you playing back and forth, finding Hoffman on the far sideline, really utilizing the handlers here as he goes back to you. Deep shot here from you. Multiple receivers in the area. Shakuski elevates, finds it, looking for Hoffman in the end zone. There she is.
There she is.
Julia Hoffman pulling in her first goal of the game for a Raleigh Radiance hold.
That was a really nice possession for Raleigh. Multiple leading passes to space. That deeper shot that went over basically the entire field of players. A little bit, unconventional, but it really worked, and it really opened up that deep space nicely.
And Chikuski doing a great job of being able to elevate and immediately head on a swivel, looking up, finding Hoffman in the deep space to continue it. And there's Hoffman adding on to her goal total, up to 25 goals so far this season. Continues to lead the PUL, and again, the 26 goal marker from 2 seasons ago with Jenny DeJesus is the number to beat. That's what Hoffman is chasing down tonight.
She has more than a half to do it, so I see the tie at least. Maybe she can break it. We'll see.
Feels very possible. You know that certainly as a player, I can imagine you're going for something. Just getting that first step towards that is a big moment to take the monkey off your back.
Yep.
Here comes the Radiance with the pull, looking to put some pressure on the DCO line.
Beautiful pull. Probably the deepest one we've seen all game.
Flores with the disc. A lot of time with the disc as the marks ended up switching halfway through her possession, so she's gotten extra time with it. Finds Fader now with the disc. Eyes up a deep shot, pump fake. Back underneath to Russell, toes the sideline. Great marks from the Radiance again.
And a hand block from Emma Cole.
Wow, big block from the Radiance. That's the second hand block we've seen this game, and their marks have been very intense, very focused, forcing DC into some non-ideal options of release points. And here come the Radiance with a break chance to get this game closer. Duffy has the disc. Gets it around to Cutler. Floats it back out to Duffy. Cutler goes upfield, gets the ball back, just outside the goal line. Finds Hudson.
Looks like a call has been made.
Radiance with a great opportunity here, just about 5 steps outside the goal line, on the far sideline, looking for a break chance. Floats it upfield. Harris swipes at it. May have gotten a piece, but either way, that's a turnover. Radiance have lost that break chance for now.
I don't think she even got a piece of it, but I think she blocked the vision of the disc coming in long enough that it was just not able to be secured.
Here's Flores on the end zone cone, looking for an option. Great around throw, leading Harris upfield. Still looking downfield for an option. Finds Flores in the backfield. There's Fader with the disc. Great pressure from the Radiance defenders. Harris gets it under again. Sends it up to Russell. Fader looking for a big blading around to the break side. Finds Johnson. Johnson fakes the hammer. Back to Harris. Flores has the disc towards the middle of the field. There's McGuire. Flores striking off of it, using that speed. Back to Flores with a nifty little left-handed throw. And there's Russell in the end zone. Strong hold from DC after Radiance had a chance for the break opportunity, but the DC O-line defense was able to stop them just in their own end zone.
Yeah, good defensive pressure by Raleigh, generating not only a break chance, but even on the second possession that DC had, they made it hard. They made some, that cross-field blading throw to Lily Johnson was required to kind of unlock a little bit more space. And then even on the end zone, it wasn't an easy just flow into the end zone. It required a little bit more work. So great defensive pressure.
And that's rookie Katina Russell making another impact on the O-line, adding on to a stat line of this season. Already had 3 goals and 1 block, continuing to make an impact as a big space utilizing cutter for this DC offensive unit. A great addition to the flow downfield. DC currently holds an 11-6 lead over the Radiance. Radiance have had a few break opportunities that they have not been able to capitalize on. DC was able to get some breaks in the first quarter and to start out the second quarter. Radiance here looking to keep up with the pace. Shakuski centers to you. Shakuski with the disc in the middle of the field. Bevins with the disc now, a rookie on the Radiance. Back to you. Bevins and you working back and forth. You takes a deep shot. Sees Hackle in the deep space. Diocampo there. Both go up for it. Diocampo able to get the block. Great action from Diocampo, high pointing that disc, and here comes Jackie Wong with the picking up the disc now for the DC D-line, looking for a break chance. Driver gets the ball to O. Nice inside throw to Mueller. Back to O. Breaks it around to Wong. Wong winds up, pump fake the deep shot. Korpinen, nice slashing cut under, winds up the deep shot. There's Kikuchi. And that's a goal for DC. That's a break for the DC Shadow. A great lined up throw from Korpinen to Kikuchi after most of the players on that D-line were able to get involved.
Korpinen, once known as just the pure athlete on the field, has really developed her throws. I love to see the confidence when there's a cutter going deep in that open space to just put it out there. It was a beautiful throw, well timed. The receiver didn't even have to leave their feet. Love to see that development in a player. Makes them much more of an all-around threat.
And if you can hear the energy, another disc was just thrown into the stands for the Carlini faithful. So a lot of excitement, a lot of fun being had by the Carlini fans, especially the DC Shadow home field fans are loving what they're seeing as the DC Shadow punch in another break and continue to add on to their lead, now 12-6 against the Radiance.
Yeah, this is just ideal viewing conditions. The sun has finally set over the trees. The lights on the field are on. The weather's still nice and warm. This is just what you dream of on a nice early summer night.
And it looks like we've got a few of the DC Shadow practice players that were pulled up for this game getting onto this line. So that's going to be exciting to see what they can do as Diocampo sends the pull away. And it looks like we've got some changed up personnel for Raleigh. Olsen sends it deep. Backpedaling receiver, able to pull it in is Baumgarten on the goal line. Looking for an option. Finds way. Stuck on the cusp. There it is. A nice throw from Olsen up to Anderson to be able to punch in after a great deep shot from Olsen. Finds Baumgarten deep.
Yeah, really nice deep shot to open that up. Should have backpedaled just one more step to get in there, but no, that was great, and then great patience while everyone was transitioning down. Sometimes that's sometimes very fraught with people running through the lanes, and I think they did a good job. There was a hand that got in there that I think made contact with the disc in one of the swing passes, but really good patience to get across the line.
And how does that feel as a coach to put out a defensive unit of players to go play on your offensive line to say, hey, can you all stay the ship here for a moment? Our offense has been having a rough go of it the last point or two.
Yeah, you absolutely need to do that. So when the offense is getting broken, they start to question themselves and whether or not they can do it. And so giving them that refresh, and it also gives a boost to your defensive players to say, hey, we trust you to go out and get that clean hold. Give us the point that we need. And so it's really critical to do that from time to time, just to keep everybody engaged and confident, and then just to give your O-line a breather.
And interestingly, looks like we've got a little bit of change up here for the DC O-line. Looks like Rader has come over to play with the O-line, which she's done throughout the season as well, and has the disc now. Back to Flores in the backfield. Finds Harris up the near sideline. Back to Flores in power position. Big pump fake. Swings it to a wide open Lily Johnson. Finds Fader there. Eyeing up some options, but elects to send it back to Flores in the backfield. Raider on the near side. Looking for Johnson, can't find. Sends Johnson into the deep space, and that's a great throw. Johnson making a wonderful cut to be wide open, and Raider sends it to Johnson for the DC hold.
That is Lily's third goal, but she has made quite a few of those catches in the middle of the field that's kind of broken the offense open. She's doing a really good job staying open on the rails. So as the Raleigh defense is sagging in the middle of the field, she's finding those spots that are open as an outlet across the field for those blading forehands. And DC is very comfortable making that throw. So it's a really smart tactic to make them either have to play her honest, which will open up the middle of the field, or then she gets those catches. So I think she's having a great game.
Especially in these calmer conditions as the wind has died down and it's very dry and gentle out. It's been easy for these DC handlers to be able to break the marks for the most part. We did see a lot of pressure from the Radiance defenders earlier, but that point in particular, not as much pressure on the marks. Looks like we have the more traditional offensive unit for the Radiance back out there again, and Wong sends the pull off. There's Yu, catches the pole, centers it up to Shapuski. Nice break of the mark over to Gross on the near sideline. Pointing, asking for someone to go deep.
Yeah, after a break throw like that, it's just a shame when it stagnates and there's no continuation. You know, you've worked so hard to break the mark and get to that side of the field. You really need that continuation.
Finds Gross back in the middle of the field. Looking for Yu. Wong playing some close defense, but Yu once again able to get open. And there's Shakuski in the backfield. Really utilizing their handler core from the Radiance to maintain possession. Finds Birdsong downfield. Happy to see a cutter involved, and Birdsong rips it deep.
What a grab. That had pace on it, and she just reached up and pulled that out of the sky.
Hackle. Big grab.
Oh! And Korpinen with the D, very heads up.
Hackle looking for a reset option after that great catch, and Korpinen able to play some strong defense. Gives DC the ball back. Here's Driver on the near side. DC has a break chance.
She's going to want to throw that. Yep, there it comes.
Gentilette rips it deep to Mueller. Gross in. Gross chasing, not able to pull it down. Mueller has the disc. Pump fake. Back to O. Blades over the top to a wide open receiver. There's Rebecca Driver getting a score. A lot of DC receivers in the vicinity. Raleigh was not able to catch up there and put too much pressure on after the big deep throw opened up the whole field.
Yeah, it's really feeling like all of the energy and momentum is with DC right now. They went into a force middle defense on that last point, kind of disrupting the cutting pattern downfield. And even though they were able to get that nice deep shot, Marika coming in with a really heads-up play and getting that D.
Yeah, great to have someone like Korpinen on your team who you can put out there against strong handlers to be able to make their lives harder and get some blocks. Again, there's a great deep shot from Gentilette, finding Mueller. Patient offense from the shadow as they got close to punch in the break chance from O to Driver. And with that, Shadow have taken a 14-7 lead.
So let's work, we can work a little smarter and just, work to pass people off as we've worked on in practice and just being vocal. That's great. But that's it. But otherwise, great work. Really, we're
Great insights there. Steocampo sends the pull long. And once again, we have a bit of an alternative offensive unit as Anderson centered it up to Olsen. Radiance bringing over some of their D-line players, and there's Way with the disc. Finds Stanlin on the near side. Back to Olsen. Over to Anderson. Olsen winds up a big under.
Nice hands.
Great grab there from Baumgarten to maintain possession on a bit of a low throw. And just like that, Radiance is swinging it back across, looking for Baumgarten in the end zone.
Oh, what a catch from Raleigh.
Jenny Way there, great grab, incredible pursuit. I don't think that was the intended target, but great pursuit. Tenson was closing in, looking to make a play. Anderson had led out to space, looking presumably for Baumgarten, but a great grab from Way to close the gap, provide that support, and elevate to make the grab. That's a hold for the Radiance after a potentially tight little pass there at the end.
Yeah, that was definitely not to Jenny Way, but she knows that when the disc is up, it's anyone's disc, and she is experienced enough to go get it every single time. So I think she had actually the hardest read, the hardest line to get to it, but she actually, because it was coming over her head, had the first opportunity to get to it, and she went up and made sure that no one else had the chance to touch that disc.
And Way adds on a goal to her assist from earlier in the evening, giving her 1 goal and 1 assist so far tonight. DC looking here with their O-line to see if they can extend their 14-8 lead. There's 45 seconds left here in the second quarter. If Raleigh's looking to make a move in this half, have to imagine it's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, and again, going back to the kind of clock management piece of this, if I were DC, I would be making sure that I ran out the entire clock before I tried to score. So I would not be surprised to see if they're very happy just swinging it back and forth across the field, and then only after the time runs out to see them try to advance it.
And after time runs out here, we'll get the opportunity to speak with one of the DC coaches, Lang Kyung, after this possession. But in the meantime, McGuire with the disc, sends it back to Flores. Looking for Fader, but great downfield defense. DC content to lose yards. Finds Raider on the far side. Toes the sideline. There's Johnson working back towards the middle of the field. Finds Flores. 20 seconds left in the second quarter. Fader a low one to Flores. Bids, but can't hold on to it.
Now this is best case scenario for Raleigh. If I were the coach, I would be calling a timeout, getting my offense out on the field for the last possession here.
Cutler has the disc, looking for options. Time has run out, so this is the last possession. A deep shot goes up, looking for Hudson, pulls it in, not quite in the end zone, and that's a score for the Radiance. Hudson finds Sophia Thayer, who's a rookie, has already scored a goal so far this season, but excited to get back on the stat sheet, and that is a big break for the Radiance to close out the quarter.
Yeah, that is a huge break for Raleigh, not only denying DC their final score, but then generating. That's a 2-point swing right there. So really nice job by Raleigh. On that deep throw, I think if the defender had known that that disc was up, they had possession, like they had the position to get that D, but they weren't aware, and the offender was able to just get to it.
Yeah, and after this commercial, we'll be talking with the DC coaching staff. Thanks to Eric Fofolia, Realtor with Strong Foundations Group, for supporting today's game. Eric works with DMV area buyers and sellers, focusing on preparation and strategy so his clients can make smarter real estate decisions. And now we're going to go down to the field to have an interview with the DC coaching staff.
Hey everybody, this is Jasmine Shia. I'm here with DC Shadow coach Lane Kyung at DC Shadow versus Raleigh Radiance. Shadow's off to a really phenomenal start. What did you tell the players coming into the game to get them ready and their headspace and prepared for the game?
I think one of the things that we've really stressed as the season has gone on is getting off to a very strong start, really making our systems work and really committing to using them early and often in the games. And I think that we've seen each of the lines that we put out really being able to dependably execute on the systems that we have.
Well, we're seeing some really great chemistry out there. A lot of people working really, really hard. We have some practice players joining our squad tonight, getting their first touches of the season. What did you say to them heading into the game? How did you get them prepared for tonight?
I think we didn't have to do too much. This practice group has been really committed, and so calling them up was just sort of letting them onto a different stage. And so we really tried to make them feel like we trusted them, that we had a lot of confidence in them, and that they were going to go out and, just kill it.
Awesome. And what's your plan going into the second half to close out a really strong night?
We have a lot of momentum. I think there are some switches that we could be making sure that we are treating the handlers in that backfield space as we anticipate, and then really just continuing to use our legs. We've got good numbers, and so we should be able to outwork them until the end of the fourth quarter.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lane. Good luck.
Thanks.
And here we have all the Girl Scouts out there on the field. Exciting night for the DC Shadow with Girl Scout nights. But here's some fun highlights from the first half as DC again holds a 14-9 lead over the Radiance. Radiance was able to convert one break opportunity, but DC has been stingy with the disc. And their offensive line has played great defense anytime they've given up the ball, able to get it back and hold Radiance from getting too many break opportunities.
Yeah, DC coming out looking like the confident team tonight. We hear Coach Lane at halftime saying that she thinks that they can outwork Raleigh. Based on body language kind of right before the half in those final few points, it did feel like DC was playing with a lot of spark. Like they are excited. They're looking for opportunities. They're playing really heads up. So it will be interesting to see how Raleigh strategizes about how to switch that momentum, because creating that momentum switch is going to be really important. In my opinion, you do need to come out with some clean offensive points. They've struggled offensively, and they just need to have that confidence come back with some clean offensive holds.
And here we go. We're going to go to a commercial, but when we get back after the end of the halftime, we'll have a chance to interview some of the Radiance coaching staff.
I'm here at the Triangle Ultimate Middle School Championships, where over 30 middle school teams are showing us exactly what the future of our sport looks like. Local, accessible, youth ultimate. At the Ultimate Foundation, we envision a world where everyone has the opportunity to experience ultimate as a sport that inspires integrity, relationships, and belonging. Founded in 2014, we are the philanthropic arm of USA Ultimate. Our funding priorities are focused on fostering access, growing youth ultimate, investing in local communities, and supporting the Girls Ultimate Movement and the Del Rico Johnson Fund. Our mission is to fuel a future for ultimate that is accessible to all backgrounds and identities by supporting USA Ultimate programs, partners, and communities. Let's stop sitting on the sidelines. Let's make the ultimate difference for the next generation.
our first half player of the game, if we had to assign one, would probably go to Lily Johnson. 3 goals already tonight. This is only her 3rd game of the season with Shadow, but she is everywhere tonight. Racking up not only the goals, but finding the spaces and sitting in them that are opening up the field, especially on the blading forehand side. She's really finding those spots that are easy for throwers to hit, and creating that space.
And utilizing her speed and height to really threaten the deep space, force the Radiance to commit multiple defenders to her, and if they don't, she's going to be open, but if they do, she's opened up a lot of space underneath as well for her teammates. We're going to listen in here.
It was a really sick first half, right? We should really be proud of that. Okay, let's go in a 2-1-2 dagger play this time. Just a reminder, the 1 is going across the middle, not deep, so that we leave the deep space open on this play. Okay, who wants the dagger? Maybe we do something different. How about Mac? I just have called you a couple plays. Do you want to do it?
Sure.
Okay. We'll get you 2 as our active. We'll get Rita in the middle. Just
1 coming to the front of
Yep,
the break side.
yep.
So I'm Jediing for you.
You're gonna just, you're flooding.
Wait, 1 to the inactive side or
Yeah, to the side, run to their side.
This time, DC's O-line looks like they are all on the same page with what's about to happen in their pull play.
Always special to get some of those insights into what kind of plays are being called and the interactions between the coaching staff and the players as they figure out how to put people in the best positions. Here we come out into the 3rd quarter. DC once again starting on offense. They hold a 14-9 lead. Radiance really looking to make something happen here, put some pressure on the DC Shadow O-line as Raider centers it up to Flores.
Raleigh in a little bit of a junk zone here, looking like a 3-3-1, which is kind of DC going into a hoe stack, and that is a perfect defense against a hoe stack. And Jenny Way reading the disc all the way, taking it away, and Raleigh with their first break chance of the half.
And here's Anderson with the discs. With the disc, finds Way with a big pump fake. Looking for an option. Finds Wilson on the far side. A run-through block from Lily Johnson, adding to the stat total. Once again, she is everywhere over the field. Wherever DC needs her to be, she's there. DC with the disc again. Raider has on the near side. Looking for an opportunity to get a hold. Finds Fader. Moving up the sideline. Takes a deep shot. Harris in the deep space. Way is there again.
Reads it again.
Another block for Way. Here's Olsen with the disc. Another break opportunity here for the Radiance starting off in the second half. Very open opportunities here. There's Baumgarten. Floaty one out to Wilson. Wilson gets it back to Way. Way takes a deep shot. Looking for Baumgarten again. Fader giving chase. Can't get the block. There's Baumgarten bringing it in for a Radiance break to start the second half.
That was a great point for Raleigh coming out of half. Exactly that momentum shifting kind of thing that we talked about at half. Their defensive adjustment coming out in that 3-3-1 just to disrupt the play was perfect against the pull play that was called by DC. And then using Jenny Way's very smart deep space knowledge to get 2 Ds to give Raleigh those 2 chances to score, and they did not disappoint on the second opportunity.
And in addition to 2 blocks on that point, Jenny Way also stacking on the assist. Key instrumental part of that D-line, being able to get the break there. Again, great momentum shifter for the Radiance, able to boost the confidence. And a number of those people from that D-line back on the field here, including Way, looking to keep adding on and putting the pressure on this DC O-line, which looks like it is going to be a bit of a defensive unit switching over to the O-line for the Shadow, looking to kind of just settle the nerves, bring some fresh legs on, let some of those defensive unit players show off the offensive skill set they certainly have as well. And here's Zwierzinski with the pull. Lands around midfield. Jackie Wong picking up. Back to O.
straight into a cup zone this time. 3-person cup up front with, looks like a short deep, 2 wings, and a deep deep. It'll be interesting to see if they're just doing this to half field and then coming out, or if they intend on staying in it the entire field.
DC.
This was a great strategic move right now, seeing the non-O-line coming out. It's always good to try to throw a zone against a D-line offense that has had less practice running against zone looks. So really nice defensive call by the Radiance coaching staff.
And DC has finally gotten it across half field. Has had quite a number of passes. Wong sends it over the top with a hammer to Korpinen. The fans love that. Oh, with the disc on the near side. The cup is followed. Back to Wong. Finds Mueller in the middle. Big yardage gainer look. It's a little bit short, though. Unable to complete. And here is the Radiance with another chance for a break opportunity.
Yeah. That's exactly what you're looking for, trying to get it to those defensive cutters who don't have as much experience playing against zone, not really sure, exactly. But that one was just a little bit of a misthrow, misexecution, and now Raleigh has another chance to break.
Here's Hudson sending it back to Way, who was instrumental on that last D point. We'll see if Way can work some more magic here. Great pressure from Korpinen, but Duffy is able to pull it in.
Yeah, I think Way is going to have to be very involved in these break chances. Oh, and just a little out of the reach of Bevins.
Jackie Wong rips it deep to Gentilette, wide open in the end zone. That's a goal for DC. Wong to Gentilette for the dirty hold for DC. Turns out having the defensive players on the field may have been helpful after the turnover happened.
Well, and that's what they're used to, right? Their offense, defensive offense, is used to transitions, and they knew exactly what to do out of a transition when the Raleigh defense was not in position yet. They fast broke right away. Gentilette, very, very opportunistic on turns to run to the end zone.
And as Wong as the thrower there, you love to look up and see Gentilette streaking deep with 3 steps on her defender. And here we come out with, this will be Radiance's first offensive possession coming out of the second half here. DC looking to put some pressure back on, maybe try to get the break back, but there's Jackie Wong adding her 3rd assist of the evening in addition to a goal. And DC hoping to apply some more pressure to try to extend this lead as Radiance has pulled it back a little bit closer, now 10-15 with DC leading as Diocampo sends off the pull. A great pull, lots of hang time, good depth. U receives. Up to Shakuski. Looking for Hackle, can't quite bring it in, a little bit outside of the reach.
And this is an opportunity for some of the practice players and rookies on the Shadow team to get to experience that offensive possession and feel the pressure at the PUL game level. So this is such great experience building that the players are getting right now.
Absolutely, and there was Saba who just caught the disc. Emily Andre was in the backfield working. It looks like DC coaching staff has called a timeout, potentially to get some of their more experienced offensive personnel on the field. But a great opportunity there for DC after they were able to put some pressure on the Radiance offensive unit.
Let's come out in our split stack setup. Let's just have our 2 active cutters in the middle of the field. We'll have Lily and Julia pair. We'll have Mac and Katina inactive on the shell side. Start more central. We have isolated cutters from there. We just transition to zone offense.
And we play ball?
Yeah. Trust our swings. If they play zone, right? Just give ourselves space and our poppers get really close. That's right. Set. Score in 3. 1, 2, 3, score.
I was going to say right before they called that timeout, the disc was with Ann Saba, and happy birthday to her tonight.
Here comes DC getting set up and with their O-line out there to try to secure this break chance. As coaches, staff just talked about there, had a play called up, but recognized that the Radiance might go into a zone, which it looks like they do have some kind of floating personnel as DC swings the ball to start things off. Losing yards back to Flores. Finds Fader.
smartly, not in their cup this time, back into their 3-3-1 a bit that the DC O-line struggled with last time.
And Harris toes the sideline, then gets the ball up to Feder. Looks to be some contact playing on. Has Harris behind the disc. Opts to lose a few yards to gain a different angle of attack. Back to Flores. Flores finds Feder back on the near sideline. Looking for options downfield, but not much action there. Nice decisive throw through some defenders to Radar. Radar finds McGuire. McGuire surveying the field for options. Finds Flores. Flores floats it back to Feder. Nice over-the-head grab. A knifing shot through the middle. Finds Russell downfield. DC has finally made it past midfield. Now they're back where the timeout started. But now things are a lot more open. As Feder has the disc again. Finds Flores on the near side. Streaking across Flores. Deep shot to the end zone. Harris standing still to receive the goal. And that's a break for the DC Shadow.
Yeah, that was nice, patient offense for DC, having kind of learned from their mistakes on their previous possession against this zone. And really nice job by Harris to just find the soft spot after, during the transition to person and get that easy score.
And Flores there once again instrumental in the backfield, being able to both keep the ball moving against that zone look, and then once it switched over to more of a person matchup set, was able to have a big decisive cut across the face of the field, get the ball, and then send it deep to Harris, adding on to her 4th assist of the night in addition to her block from earlier in the game, putting up a very impressive stat sheet to continue adding to her big assist total throughout the season. And there you can see some of the DC handler core talking through, reminiscing about the work that they has had to do with lots of passes going back and forth between them against that zone look, not able to throw it downfield very much. And here comes the DC Shadow D-line, looking for more, hungry for another break opportunity. Shakuski picks up the disc, sends it to you. And if you're hearing the yelling, the Girl Scouts have arrived with t-shirts and pizza, and the fans are loving it. It's a great time here at Carlini Field. Back to the action, Shakuski and you working in the backfield. You finds Birdsong, big gainage. Birdsong rips it deep, looking for Hackle. Great.
Easy catch in the end zone for Hackle.
Great balance to be able to turn over a different shoulder, reel that one in. Very well thrown ball from Birdsong to lead Hackle out to space for a smooth hold for the Raleigh Radiance O-line.
Yeah, she knew she was throwing it over Hackle's head, and so she weighted it nicely so that it was really hanging there, giving her receiver the opportunity to turn and react to it, but putting it well beyond the reach of the defender. So just a really nicely weighted throw.
And continuing to see the Radiance utilize the deep space. There's Birdsong's first assist of the evening, but we've already seen a number of deep throws from her, both on the receiving and the throwing end, getting the Radiance close to the end zone. Finally, they're able to connect on an assist. But definitely something that the Radiance have been utilizing is their ability to threaten deep and connect on deep throws.
Yeah, I want to see Birdsong take over a little bit more. I think she's a player that's capable of it, and she's really hard to defend. And I just want to see her just kind of fighting a little bit harder to get really involved and kind of dictate the flow of play a little bit more. I think that Raleigh could really benefit if she did that.
And here comes the pull from the Raleigh defensive unit. DC picks up. Raider centers to Flores. Once again, kind of some defenders floating around in front of the disc as Fader sends it back to the middle of the field with Flores. Over to Raider, the far side. Big pump fakes. Back to Flores. DC doing a good job utilizing the width of the field, moving the disc back and forth to keep that zone from being able to really key in on one angle.
Yeah, I like the different zones that Raleigh is throwing on to DC. DC is figuring it out, but they're making them have to think about it every time.
Wow, and Flores and Harris just off to the races that point, able to utilize their speed and sharp throws to get a few throws through the zone to start off, and then once they got past the zone, they never looked back for a very confident hold from the DC O-line to make it 17-11.
And that is Lily Johnson's 4th goal of the game. She continues to rack up the stats, and especially in a zone offense, those kinds of players tend to be able to just sit in that deep space, wait for that zone to be broken, and then are the wide open continuation, as she was on that point.
And again, there is Lily Johnson, 4th goal of the game, in addition to 2 blocks that we've seen earlier, having an amazing game for the DC team, for the DC Shadow. And Flores also on that point, instrumental in just being able to slice through the defense. And now we're also thinking about Julia Harris was big on that point, really helping Flores utilize her speed to get through the cup, and then Harris was there ready to take advantage. And now we're looking here at Julia Hoffman. Again, 25 goals on the season. Another opportunity here to potentially get to that number 26 and tie the league record. Here's the Radiance. Back up to you. Looking for options. Great mark there. Putting a lot of pressure on the throws. Shakuski has the disc now. Finds Hoffman. Hoffman dishes and is off to the races, going deep. Couldn't quite connect. Yu has the disc now. Back to Shakuski. Big yardage gainer to Hoffman, after utilizing her speed to get a big chunk downfield, turned around, gained about 40 yards on under.
Yeah, that was a really nice yard gaining under after recognizing that she was a little bit too deep to get the deep throw. So that was the right move there.
And there's Gross sending it back to Shakuski. Appears to be a player on the ground for DC, and some kind of call has been made. Looks like I'm seeing a foul call being signaled by the observers. We'll see where this comes back to. Bit of discussion still going on, trying to figure out who is involved. It is Diocampo was the one on the ground.
And I was going to comment earlier, but I didn't want there to be a commentator's jinx, but that this has been an incredibly clean game. Very few calls, if any. I think there was one pick earlier in the game, but other than that, there really hasn't been any calls. So just an incredibly clean game in this heated historical, heated rivalry. So really nice job by both teams, just playing that, clean, spirited game.
And it looks like the observer has just signaled this is not a foul. And now they're just trying to figure out where the disc is going, if the disc is moving backwards at all. Looks like it'll stay with Gross. Diocampo will stay where she is, and play will resume. Birdsong with a big opening. Back to you. Right through the hands of Gross. A nice cut across the field and just slipped right through her hands. Here's a chance for the DC Shadow D-line, including some of their practice players and rookies, to get out there and get a break opportunity. Diocampo with a big line down the field, just past the lunging defender. Tenson has the ball on the far sideline. Back to Diocampo. And there's Saba. And there's Sesha McMinn, who had the disc just a moment ago. Floating it to the end zone. A great throw from Saba to Tenson. That's a DC Shadow break. And shout out to the practice players stepping up big. That was Saba's first. This is her first professional game. Already getting an assist. And Tenson on the receiving end, already with 2 Ds this season. But first goal of the 2026 season for Tenson. Very exciting moment. You can see the joy on their face.
Yeah, and they had a really nice movement in the red zone there. Even when they didn't take it, the continuation looks were there every single time. So I just really thought the spacing and the timing was really good, especially for a bunch of players that have not been playing on the game day roster. It's very clear that the practice has still allowed them to have great chemistry on the field.
To Coach Lane's point from earlier, the practice players have been so invested, very committed to the team, and it sounded like it was an easy transition to pull them up, and we can already see why and the impact they're having both in the defensive and the offensive end. And here's Jackie Wong sending it off again. DC currently leading 18-11. Just got a break up, just had a break there. the Radiance have brought on some of their defensive unit personnel to play this offensive point. Anderson swings it over to Wei. Just a little bit out of the reach of Zwerzinski, not able to pull it in, just bounced off of their hand. And now the Shadow once again with another break chance. Wong looking for a receiver, finds O. O sizing up the deep space, sends a tight one to Gentilette, just through Gentilette's hands. Some great pressure on the defensive side there from Baumgarten.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of unforced errors kind of creeping into the game on both sides here. I don't think it's fatigue. You know, these points haven't been overly long, but they're just mental mistakes that really don't need to be happening. So, you know, both sides with opportunities to kind of clean things up and, you know, get some cleaner holds.
And there's Baumgarten finds Wei on the far sideline. The Radiance looking here still to get their hold despite a few turnovers in the point. Finds Cole on a tightly contested little upline. Great hands and footwork to be able to pull that in a small space. There's Olsen continuing to move it down the field in small little chunks. Right on the goal line looking for Cole, and there's Emma Cole in the end zone for the hold with the assist to Olsen.
That was nice small space offense by Raleigh. I'm not sure if they wanted to just play in that small space, but they were very successful in doing so. And no one else was kind of clogging that space. So because that space was open, they were able to play a little bit tighter and small ball to get Emma Cole up the line.
And that's Emma Cole, who is currently a UVA Hydra player, and I believe that's Cole's first goal of the season in her rookie year with the Radiance. So very exciting to get that action in a game, potentially going up against some other UVA players on the Shadow. Fun to have some of that kind of collegiate rivalry / teammateship play into the pro scene.
Yeah, definitely. The UVA Hydra have had a pipeline of great players through their ranks over the years. Emma Cole coming in as a graduate student and getting in and making an impact.
And now the Radiance, after getting that hold, after a few possessions back and forth, looking to see if they can go out here, put some pressure on this Shadow O-line, which despite the different defensive unit looks, has looked pretty strong overall throughout the course of the game. And here's the pull with Fader picking up, centering it up to Raider. Raider sends it around to Flores. Johnson going deep, big pump fake. Flores still looking for an option. Getting high in the stall count, finds Raider. Looks like there may be some kind of stall. Looks like we have a stall called down the field. Was definitely getting a bit high. We'll see. Observer has been called in to adjudicate if they have any perspective here.
He was on the opposite side of the field and so would not have been able to hear the actual stalling. So usually if the players are not able to come to a consensus, he will go with a contest like he did.
And is a contested stall, went back to 8, was able to find Fader in the backfield, gets it back to Flores. There's Lily Johnson gaining big chunks of yards once again. Looking downfield, finds Harris, tight to the sideline. Back to Flores in the reset space. And
Flores has been playing a key role on their offense, especially since Sammy Smalling has not been playing many of the offensive points. It's been an interesting switch, but she has really stepped up and taken point on pretty much every offensive possession.
And their Fader as well has really stepped into that backfield role to support that. There's McGuire working with Fader. Finds Flores at the front of the end zone with a nice inside break. Flores sends it around. And a great throw to Raider. Slicing around the defender who had their back turned to Raider. Didn't see Raider striking away from them, and that's a hold for DC.
Yeah, that was a nice throwing your receiver open. She saw the space and just put it out where Raider could run onto it pretty easily. Raiders saw the space as well, but didn't attack into it until after the disc was thrown. A really nice offensive possession in the red zone.
And there's Flores adding another assist to her total, up to 6 assists in the game, in addition to a block she had earlier. showing why she's such a key piece in this DC Shadow O-line unit.
Absolutely. She's really been anchoring the backfield, and 6 assists. I mean, that is really impressive.
Yeah, and in her first game this season against the Radiance, she had 5 assists. So she's already surpassed her own total, which was a very impressive total for one game just to start out with. Once again, the Radiance not enjoying seeing Kira Flores coming onto the field. They know that she is going to be finding the ways to get the ball into the end zone against them.
With these 6 assists, that she passes Sammy Smalling's 14 assists and is now the assist leader for DC Shadow for the season.
And here's the Radiance. As clock ticks down, we're around 20 seconds. Gross sends the ball back to you. Again, we're in the third quarter here. If time expires, we'll play the possession out. Gross has the ball. Looking back to you. Tight defense from Wong.
I think Jesso got a piece of that.
A lot of pressure there on the ball. Hackle is able to find Birdsong. Big fake. Back to you.
Hoffman had been going deep with steps a few seconds ago, but they didn't quite see her.
And again, the Radiance time has expired, but they were in possession when the clock hit 0, so they will play it out until either a score or a turnover. A deep shot. Hoffman in pursuit.
Oh!
But it is usurped
by Lila Stanland. Oh, it just bounced off her hands. That's really unfortunate. It should have been an easy catch, but I think she was probably thinking about towing the line when it happened. You can see her kind of check in right before the disc got to her hands, and by taking her eyes off the disc, she just had her hand in the wrong place.
And with that, DC takes a 19-12 lead at the end of the third quarter. Going to be going into the fourth quarter. DC up by 7. Founded in 2020, Discover Diversity creates spaces where Black players can show up fully, play freely, and experience a genuine sense of belonging, especially within Ultimate Frisbee. Through intentional events and playing opportunities, we center community, leadership, and joy while celebrating the talent and resilience of Black players. Our goal is to expand access, champion collaboration, and inspire the next generation of athletes. The Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to PremierUltimateLeague.com to donate today. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops.
And that last possession, you saw Hoffman and Stanland going deep at the same time when the disc went up. Hoffman actually had a line on it. She probably could have reeled it in as well, but there was for the game-tying goal. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But she still has one more quarter to tie the record at 26.
And definitely have to imagine there's been somewhat of a focus from the DC defensive unit to try to contain her, given how effective she was in the first game against DC. Again, had 6 goals and 2 assists in their earlier game from week 2 this season. So you know the DC D-line is aware of her at all times on the field and is looking to contain her. Here we go, our last quarter. There we see one of the DC practice players who was pulled up, Emily Andre. First game as a professional. Very excited to be in this big environment. DC D-line going to be coming out here. 12 minutes left, about to start the fourth quarter. Big opportunity for DC to come out, put some pressure on the Radiance to start as they're already ahead 19-12.
Yeah, this is kind of that practice squad line that was able to get that break in the third quarter, getting another opportunity here to give the other D lines a little bit of a needed rest, while at the same time getting that big game opportunity. This is great to see them back on the field.
And there's Olsen centering up to Anderson. Once again, we have a bit more of the defensive unit crossing over for the O-line, and there's a miscommunication in the backfield. Anderson sent out to space. Olsen was going backfield. There's Andre picking up. Over to Saba. Finds Diocampo in the backfield. Saba again on this near side, utilizing some pump fakes to communicate. Nice break around the mark to Diocampo. Diocampo utilizing some length to float out to space. Big bid there from Madeline Lander, another practice player in her first game. Can't come down with it. Great opportunity there for DC. And Olsen immediately taking a deep shot. Receiver trying to leg it out. That was Natalie Baumgarten. Can't quite catch up with it as Olsen sent it out a little bit too far. And now, once again, the DC Shadow D-line has a chance to get a break to really extend this lead.
Yeah, it looks like they're transitioning into a zone here, sagging in that middle of the field with kind of a front wall 3-3-1 look here.
And there's Andre and Saba in the backfield, utilizing those pump fakes to try to get around the wall. Finds Diocampo on the far sideline. Tries to knife it through, but a great block there from Olsen, getting a hand in the way. And one of the benefits of playing that zone defense is having some players in the way. Tight throw, Tenson applying pressure, but not able to bring it in, and Way has the disc. Looks like there's a timeout called by the Radiance coaching staff, trying to settle things down a bit.
Yeah, that's the right call right there. You really want this score on this point. It's been a little bit back and forth, and it's the right call to settle down, get organized, and punch this one in.
And looks like, based on the personnel here, might be an opportunity to put some of those more standard offensive personnel on the field after starting with.
What do we want? Literally, I was going to say. Juju going deep or Hacker going deep? One of you?
Do we want Erica
it
to
gonna
pull a
get thrown?
defender and look for an under?
Yeah, Erica deep. Then no. What if all three of you go deep?
Oh, that's
Erica
true.
deep.
When
Erica
deep,
deep, everyone will follow her. Erica deep. Will you be the front of the first stack? More people will pull and we'll try to get 10 seconds off it. What do you want me to do? Like strike first. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh. You got it. Where's the ball?
Getting into a bit of a diagonal stack here. It looks like they're going to try to sweep a little bit. Some players in one direction with Julian in another.
And here's Shakuski on the sideline with a disc. And as we could hear in that huddle, some discussion about trying to pull defenders out of the space, open up a lane for someone else, looking for an option. Finds Gross back across the middle with a nice inside throw. Back to Shakuski.
Good defensive pressure by Shadow.
Gross has it. Tight pressure from Mueller. Back to Shakuski. Sends it deep for Gross. Gentilette in the area. Elevates with the block. Ashley Gentilette once again. A nose for the disc. Pulled off of her own person to go and get that block.
Yeah, anytime that she's defending someone in the stack, she's super heads up to see if there's an opportunity to help. And when she saw that deep strike, she knew that that disc was going to go up, and she had the best read on or angle to that to help out there, and took the opportunity to do so.
And here's the DC Shadow D-line. Notably, they've switched out some of the personnel from earlier in this defensive point, so it also gets some fresh legs. Mueller sending it deep to Gentilette. Birdsong in pursuit, tight to the sideline. Birdsong closes the gap, grabs the disc. Not to be denied.
Yeah, with that disc drifting out of bounds, Birdsong was smart to just run out of bounds and ensure it didn't come back in.
And here's Hackle with the ball looking upfield. Finds you in the backfield. Korpinen applying a tight mark. Great cut from Shakuski to get open in the reset space. Back to you. Sends it around to Birdsong.
No continuation look for Birdsong. She had it with no mark and no one cutting deep.
And there's Stanley looking for a hammer over the top to Hoffman. Can't quite bring it in. An opportunity there to get close to the goal line. An aggressive look there from Stanley. but when you have a receiver like Hoffman, hard not to just try to get the ball there any way you can. And O gets it up to Korpinen. Another break chance for this DC Shadow D-line. Gets it back to Wong on the own end zone. Hammer over the top to Korpinen. Korpinen continues the swing to Kikuchi. Just a little bit ahead of Mueller on the inside pass.
And they give it back to...
Yu has the ball, sends it deep. Hoffman in the deep space, looking to elevate, pulls it in. That's Julia Hoffman with another goal, and that puts her to 26 goals on the season, tying the league record.
It did seem like they were trying to find her in the end zone at all costs on that point, and they were able to finally get her right here. Nice read on that, getting her defender to kind of be on her back heels, not able to elevate, and Hoffman able to pull it in for the 26th goal of the season.
So impressive, tying the league record, currently tied now with Jenny DeJesus from 2 years ago at 26 goals in one season. Still over 7.5 minutes left to play here in this fourth quarter. Have to imagine there will be more chances for Hoffman to get involved, but definitely they were looking to find her in the end zone there, utilize her height and her speed to get open and try to jumpstart something for the offense.
They definitely were, and that's a moral victory for sure. When the score feels a little bit lopsided, you know, you can use those things as momentum changers, and so it'll be interesting to see if Raleigh continues to try to feed her or if they kind of settle into to another rhythm.
And here comes the Radiance sending off a pull. And if you're just joining us, DC has had a number of break opportunities, has been able to capitalize on quite a few. Radiance also had a number of opportunities, but has not been able to capitalize except for once, and that really is the main difference in this game, is the D-line offensive efficiency. As DC works it up, finds McGuire on the far sideline. Gets it back to Fader in the middle of the field. Finds Flores on the big swing all the way across. Lily Johnson going deep. Flores pump fake.
Julia Harris has been finding this wide open middle of the field multiple times throughout this game. She hasn't always been hit, but she's been making that cut over and over again this game.
There's a nice grab by McGuire on the slightly rising disc. Gets it back immediately to Fader. And there's Johnson in the middle of the field. Finds Russell. Back to Fader. Pump fake. Nice around throw. Harris receives it. Looks like there may have been some kind of call.
Probably a pick when someone's that wide open.
Harris is coming back closer to where the defenders were.
A little bit of double cutting by DC, not really creating space for one another. Looks
Fader.
like everyone is eager to get in the end zone.
Fader with a crafty scoober to get it over to Harris, who finds, Flores, who finds Harris in the end zone for the DC hold. That's once again that UVA Hydra connection coming in strong. As you mentioned earlier, Flores and Harris all over the field. And here we see Flores throughout this game, really utilizing her length and agility to step around these marks, continue to be able to get the ball to the break side despite the intensity that the Radiants are bringing in their marks and trying to set some defensive tones with their pressure on the disc.
Yeah, her high release around backhand hasn't been able to be stopped anytime throughout this game, and Kira Flores with her 7th assist on that with that nice loopy around backhand. Very, very impressive stat line for Kira Flores.
Kira Flores putting together an incredible game, quietly touching the disc almost every third throw, and then able to almost always find a way to get the ball to one of her teammates in the end zone.
Yeah, she's not a flashy player. She's a player that plays with her legs, makes around break throws, and is very involved in the backfield. But tonight she's really just shown how she can kind of anchor that space and take whatever she wants in terms of throws downfield.
And here we are, and the Radiants have picked it up. The disc landed out of bounds in the pole, so they get to bring it to the middle of the field. Szykuski with the disc, finding you. And again, we see Hoffman sitting in the middle of that vertical stack. If she is able to score on this point or any further point, she will break the record. Anyway, eyeing up the downfield options. Gets it back to Shakuski. Swings it across the field to Bevins. Back to Shakuski. Finds way there. Hoffman isolated the front of the stack. Great cut. Goes to the ground to secure the grab. Showing off the agility and strength. Nice inside throw to Bevins.
Things are stagnating a little bit right outside the end zone, but they need to maintain their spacing.
And there's you finding Bevins. Some nice counter flow from the Radiance. Shakuski has the disc and finds right at the front, right in front of them is Bevins for a nice smooth goal after a lot of passes back and forth.
Yeah, that's what you need right there after it feels really hard to have someone just standing there wide open right in front of you for an easy dish. You don't need to make it hard. You can just hit the person right there.
And there's Hoffman with that great possession-saving grab. As they were trying to find ways to get her the disc, DC had really keyed in, but the Radiance did a great job of utilizing their other players, recognizing that Hoffman had so much attention on her, and being able to utilize players like Bevins, who bring a lot in their own right, but maybe don't get the big name recognition as much as Hoffman. And there's Bevins' first score of the night.
Yeah, sometimes there's a tendency to try to break records or feed the hot hand or do anything like that, and sometimes at the detriment to the team. And so, really it's just smart to play selflessly, to just play, making the 100% throws and not really worrying about who is the one that scores the goal. The right move to not try to force it into Hoffman if she wasn't in the right space at the right time.
And here we are, it's 20-14. DC continues to hold on to a sizable lead here. The Radiance sending off another pull, a great pull from Olsen, trying to pin DC somewhat deep. And that's centered up to Flores. Big sweeping action, gets Johnson the disc, lots of space. Swings it back to Flores. Radar with a bidding defender going past. That was Baumgarten putting some pressure on, and a deep shot from Fader. Harris in the end zone elevates for the score. Julia Harris coming down with it on a nice throw from Fader, a defender in pursuit. That was Emma Cole. Might have been some Hydra on Hydra crime, but a great grab from Julia Harris.
Yeah, Julia, again, recognizing the power position that her thrower was in, was just going to find the end zone and not going to let her defender catch that goal.
Always a nose for the end zone.
Yep.
Emma Cole right there applying a lot of pressure, but Harris has been in a lot of big game scenarios, is not fazed by the pressure, and is always ready to deliver in the end zone. Adds on a fourth goal of the evening, in addition to a block, also putting together a very impressive stat line. Already was tied for the most goals on the Shadow so far this season. Really putting together a strong performance tonight. And
yeah,
time is slowly ticking away for the Radiance.
With Kira and Lily and Julia's stats tonight, it has felt a little top heavy in terms of who's kind of finishing the play, but in terms of involvement, it's been great involvement from the depth of the roster, and it's really good to see everybody getting involved and making an impact.
And here comes the Radiance O-line, and notably they took Hoffman off of this point. Maybe give her a little rest. She's been running really hard. A lot of great players around her to be able to pick up the slack as well. There's you with the disc. A lot of pressure from O on that mark. And there's Shakuski with the disc back. Back to you. You directing traffic. Finds Gross on the far side. Nice continuation to Hackle. Big chunks of space. Hackle back to you. Nice little give-go action. Slicing effectively through the backfield. You winds up a deep one to Birdsong. Birdsong, lots of space, and that's a score.
That's a great deep cut by Birdsong. And the throw was easy to run onto, but I really liked that timing that she attacked into that space with.
There's a lot of great utilization of that kind of small ball give-go action from the handlers, from you, and in this instance, Hackle, to be able to set up that free throw for you, and then a great timing, as you said, on the cut from Birdsong. Wide open. Hard to guard that one as the ball moves back and forth across the field. Hard to know which side to be even on as a defender.
Looks like there's another free disc being given out to the crowd as they go nuts.
Great hands from one of the patrons here to really pull that one in. It was a heater coming right at him. Here we are, just under 4 minutes left in the game. The Shadow is up 21-15, continuing to hold on to this lead that they've built up in the first 3 quarters. Radiance playing a lot better on their offensive unit, has not really turned the ball over very much in recent possessions, but starting to feel like it might be too little too late, but you have to imagine this possession could be big for the Radiance defense.
Yeah, I agree. If they can generate a stop here and potentially even a break, you know, that would be something that they could then build upon in terms of momentum. But right now, the DC O-line has been kind of taking what they want. You know, I think some of the junks and other looks that Raleigh has thrown at them have slowed them down a little bit, but they're just able to find the space and they're being patient. So some of those unforced errors we aren't seeing as much in this quarter. And the commentator curse just happened again.
Spoke it into existence.
I did.
Great pressure from the Radiance D-line. Once again, changing tactics with a bit of a cup action there, and now here they have a break opportunity already inside the red zone. Way with the disc. Looks like it was touched by Johnson on the mark, but still able to be reeled in by Cutler. Cutler looking back. Fine Zhang. Meg Duffy with the disc. Back to Grace Zhang. Again, first game this is a rookie season for Zhang. First game, lacing up the boots. Very exciting. There's Jenny Way with the disc on the goal line. Marked by Johnson. Staring down the open side. Sends it deep. Great grab there in the back of the end zone. To Sydney Kelly.
Yeah, that was a nice break by Raleigh. You can see the excitement that they had generating that break. It was good patience after DC had shut down cut after cut with hard pressuring defense. That was just very patient red zone offense by Raleigh.
I believe that's Sydney Kelly's first goal of the this season, in her 3rd season with the Radiance, but very exciting to get your first goal of the season and a big moment, getting that break point. First goal of the game as well, but getting that break point is huge, brings it back within 5, gives your defensive line a bit of a chance, gives some momentum. You have to hope and believe on anything you can hold on to right now.
Yeah, and you know, at this point, you know, it is good that they're all smiles, right? Like you could see Sydney with a big grin on her face after her first goal this season, and that's good. That's good to see, like, the positive energy still flowing through Raleigh. You know, their body language does not appear to reflect the score at all, and that's what you need at this point in the game, right? You need to keep playing like it's 0-0 game to 1, and so let's see what this D-line does when it gets out there.
Olsen sends off another deep pull, has had great pulls this game to really try to pin DC back a bit. Flores gets the ball centered. Looking on the near side. Feder.
She is out of bounds.
Out of bounds, called by the observer. This is another break chance for the Radiance. Anderson picking it up on the sideline. Gets it back to Olsen. Surveying the field, looking for options. Finds Anderson. Once again, content to lose yards, but gain action towards the middle of the field.
She thought about throwing that one deep, but thought better of it because this is a very important possession in terms of, you know, if you need to go on a run here. This is kind of your last chance to go on a run. That is nice box out to secure that.
That's Natalie Wilson, brings that one in. Back to Olsen. Emma Cole now over on the far side of the field with a pump fake, looking for options.
Pump faked an open look. Now she's kind of high stall count and had to go into a hammer.
Hammer over the top, just off the fingertips of Baumgarten. Unable to complete the grab there in a slightly difficult action.
Yeah, sometimes if you look off that first open look, you don't get another better opportunity than that.
And now DC Shadow starting on their own end zone line. 1 minute left. Swinging the ball back and forth. Flores has it now. Content to kill a little bit of time and maintain this possession. Raider back to Flores. Haven't made much progress vertically, but able to maintain this possession, keep swinging. Back to Flores.
You can see Lily Johnson in the deep space. She's just waiting for one of the mids to get hit. If one of the mids get hit, she has the best angle of attack into the deep space. But right now she's just making Emma Cole play deeper to stretch the zone a little bit wider to create more space.
And there's Fader. Hits the ball up to McGuire. Back to Fader. Down to 20 seconds left. Raleigh hoping for anything at this point. DC managing to maintain this possession. Flores back to Fader. Less than 10 seconds. Oh, it's a misthrown. That's a turnover. Radiance will have a possession here. And it looks like there was a
They're going to have to add time to the clock because I believe it should have been stopped when the disc hit the ground. So they're just going to add some time to the clock and restart. And interestingly, I believe the last time DC and Raleigh played, the scoreline ended up being 21-17. And if Raleigh converts this one, that's exactly what this one will be.
Here they have 4 seconds left, but of course they can maintain possession and play it all the way out. So here's Anderson with the ball. Olsen with a nice upline cut to get free. The clock has hit 0. They continue to maintain possession. Emma Cole with the disc on the sideline. Gets it up to Olsen just outside the end zone. Big pump fakes, lots of pressure. Winds up the hammer, sends it across the field. Blocked. And that will end the game. DC closes it out 16-21. The DC Shadow taking home the home field win over the Raleigh Radiance. Some big stat lines across the board, lots of exciting plays. This was a really fun game.
This was a really fun game, even though DC felt like it was in the driver's seat, kind of starting in quarter one. I loved the fight that Raleigh showed throughout the game. They did a great job. Julia Hoffman ended up tying the single season record for goals. So many positive indicators for them as a team and a young program. They're going to get better and better every year. And on DC's side, Kira Flores with 7 assists, and Julia Harris and Lily Johnson both with 4 goals apiece. So some significant offensive firepower contained in those 3 as well.
Really stands out when you have such dynamic players on your offensive unit, able to move the ball around, whether it's against a zone or a or a person defense, able to find Harris in the end zone, Flores often providing the service, and Fader also stepping up big, finding the backfield action a lot to maintain possession.
I was really impressed with DC's O-line defense. After a turn, they were playing stifling lockdown defense, making it very difficult to find space and getting so many of those discs back. So they really prevented Raleigh from being able to go on any sort of break run by just playing really good defense. Lily Johnson getting 2 blocks, Julie Harris getting a block. Kira, I think, had a block as well. So I mean, just like really across the board, they were creating those opportunities to get the disc back after turns.
And notably, one of the big storylines we were following tonight was Raleigh on their last-ditch effort to hold on to a chance to make it a championship weekend. Unfortunately, with this loss tonight, they are eliminated from that running for championship weekend, which will actually be held in Raleigh this year. So unfortunate for them to not be able to make it a championship weekend in front of the home crowd, but a great win for DC to continue their winning streak.
Fun, like, let's give our cutters more time and space, and our handlers can like go through the progressions in both groups. That's a really good win, right? Really, really good win. We just won the division officially. We we have another game next week to keep getting better. I am like so excited for, right? Like really excited for another game. We don't get a lot of chances to play in front of our fans, play really hard. So super excited for that. But ambitions are even higher.
Great, 5-0. Let's go.
Hey, thanks everyone who made an adjustment, moved from a line to a line, moved on to the O-line.
I liked that messaging from the DC coaching staff, taking about 2 seconds to celebrate the fact that they're going to end at the top of the standings, to remind that the season is not over, that they have another game, and it's an opportunity to get better. Sometimes, you know, you have that thought across your mind that you can kind of coast in the last game, but that momentum that you want to be playing your best ultimate going into championship game, and so with that last game, it's really about sharpening even more, honing even more. So it was good to hear the coaching staff remind the team, like, yes, it's exciting to celebrate this win, let's do that, but then let's look forward. This season is not over yet.
And an exciting evening in front of their home fans here at Carlini Field. You know that's something that the players look forward to all season long, getting a chance to play at home and knowing as well they have one more home game coming up next weekend back here at Carlini Field. But you know, you heard the fans all night long. You felt the energy, felt the stomping, felt the noise. I think that was a big part of what brought such energy for the DC Shadow, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now going through a fun high-five line. Such a great moment as a fan to be able to give some love to the players that you adore, and as a player to be able to say, hey, thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. This is a great home field, home stadium. The atmosphere is always fun and energetic. The crowd is always really engaged in the game, and the DC Shadow love their fans. So this is, I agree, this was just a beautiful night of Ultimate for the fans and the players.
And for the Radiance, you have to imagine, okay, season's over. This is the end of our regular season. Now it's time to kind of recalibrate, start to look forward to next season. A lot of good things to take away from some practice players and younger players stepping up, not just this game, but throughout the course of the season. Coaches noted earlier on to us that they were able to roster every single player and practice player for at least one game this season, which was really big for them. Now we're going to go down to an on-field interview.
Hi everybody, I'm Jasmine Shia and I'm here with our player of the game, Kira Flores from DC Shadow. Congratulations, Kira, you had a fantastic game. You had 7 assists and a block. I would say your style of play is very cool, calm, and collected. How do you maintain that in these high pressure situations?
I think just leaning on my teammates and knowing that they're always going to be there if it happens to be a high stall situation or if I don't feel comfortable with the throw down field. So that really allows me to take the risks that I feel comfortable in, but also know that I always have someone reliable behind me.
Yeah, and DC Shadow obviously showed out tonight, and we have one last regular season game before the postseason. What do you hope to do in the postseason with this team?
I think win another championship. I think we've shown we can be the best teams in the league this year, and so I think as long as we can continue playing at the top of our game, we're going to have a really great home game next week and then take that momentum into championship weekend.
Amazing. And do you have any shout outs for the fans in the stands or anyone back at home?
Shout out my parents who are here tonight, as well as my grandma and other family who tend to watch on the stream.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the interview and fantastic job. You crushed it tonight. And go Shadow.
Thank you so much. Go Shadow.
Yeah, great interview there. Great to hear from Kira Flores about what makes it so easy to play with the rest of that Shadow O-line. Obviously, she had a standout performance with her 7 goals, but as she mentioned, being able to count on her teammates to relieve some of the pressure when she doesn't feel like she has it is a great thing to have in a teammate.
Absolutely, and she's a very humble player, very solid, consistent. I liked the cool, calm, and collected. That does describe her very well. She's not someone that runs hot and cold. She's very consistent, and tonight she just had the opportunity to shine. But she didn't change her game at all. That is her game, the bread and butter way she plays. Tonight it just happened to be crossing the goal line a lot.
And we'll also get to hear from Julia Hoffman from the Radiance, who, as we noted earlier, tied the single season record for the PUL in most goals in a single season with 26 goals in a single season. Amazing stat line across the course of a whole season, and we'll get to hear from her now.
Should I do my hands? Is this okay?
Hello, back again, Jasmine Shia, here with our regular season goal scorer setter, record setter, Julia Hoffman from Raleigh Radiance. Julia, you scored 2 goals tonight, bringing up your total goals scored for the regular season to 26. What does setting this record mean to you, or tying the record mean to you? And what do you hope to shout out to all your fans back at home in Raleigh, as well as your parents out here in the stands?
Yeah, thank you. I think obviously it feels good. It's like cool, but I think it's really just such a testament to like how incredibly talented our O-line really was this year. Like last year kind of switched back and forth between O and D, and I got kind of the privilege of really being permanently on our O-line this year. I just feel really grateful to have gotten to play 6 full games with my teammates. I love this organization, and I love to play with all my teammates all the time. And, we just have so much talent in that group of people that we're more often than not able to work it down the field. And even if we make a mistake, we work so hard on defense, just get back into it, get that disc back. And we all trust each other 100%. We're so consistent. And I think really value problem solving. We were just talking in our huddle about the fourth quarter of a game that technically doesn't matter, and we're on the sideline being okay, well, what if we cut from the front, or whatever it may be. So I really value that collaboration, and more often than not, I guess being the one to catch it at the end for the point to end is fun and great. But I just as equally value my teammates making a great play, or just really consistent working it down the field, and then a simple toss to score. The assists feel great. Myself scoring feels great, and watching my teammates score feels great. So it's such a positive group of people and positive organization that I'm really proud to be a part of, and just really appreciate the league giving me the opportunity to play, and just all the support. I feel we're a very supportive group of people, and then my parents are here, so they traveled from Richmond to come watch me play, so that's really sweet and special. And I have my brothers watch back home and stuff like that, so I really appreciate just all the support, and it's really fun. And I hope moving forward the league continues to grow and continues to showcase players that maybe otherwise don't get shout outs and whatnot, maybe didn't play in such a popular college team or whatever. And I think the great thing about this league is that it just does showcase women and non-binary players from all over.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't forget the 2 assists you scored tonight as well. So kudos on being the goal scoring leader for this season, for being such a versatile player, and also for all your thoughtful insights on how this league can progress. And
I could talk forever, so wrap me up.
That's amazing. Thank you again so much, Julia.
Thank you.
Fantastic job. Congrats on a great season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a great night.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Wow, well, many thanks to Julia Hoffman for taking some time, and to Kira Flores for taking some time with us tonight. That was awesome to hear from both of them, learn a little bit more about them as players and their insights into the game. This was an awesome game. Again, the DC Shadow taking home the win, 21-16. Join us back here next week on June 6th at 7 p.m. as the Shadow take on the Nashville Nightshade. This is just such a great, entertaining sport, such a great field to be here at Carlini Field. Sam, thanks for being with us this evening. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. This was a really fun game, great atmosphere. So I'm very excited for the last game of the season.
For Sam Broadus and Alex Turney, this is signing off.